Welcome back to Half Moon's Picks. That's right, I was 3-1 last week. And let's review what we got. Last week I told you to pick Arizona to beat Dallas. That's my upset pick. Even though someone said that's not really an upset. Well, at the time, Dallas was favored by 3.5 points. So they won outright. I got the pick. My third pick, the one I was up in the air about, I said, didn't pan out. San Francisco's offensive line just did not show up. The Rams kept it close. It was like 13-10, and it was an ugly game. My number 2 pick last week was Jets at Kansas City. Kansas City covered by 9.5 points. And Philadelphia at Houston. Philadelphia did win. Nick Foles is out. They got Mark Sanchez in. Had me worried for a minute, but he did well. I think sometimes when you put a good quarterback on a bad team like the Jets, they do bad, and then they get to a decent team like Philadelphia, they do well. So, let's talk about the Lions. Lions do play at home in Miami this week. One thing about the new coach, Coach Caldwell, is doing, he's given, how would you say, a unity with the team and the teammates. Like he did charity softball teams where the teams got together, they'll do dinners. And one thing they did over at London is they all shared in the same hotel, same room, same floors. They went out to eat together. I saw pictures of they hung out together, went to sites together. A lot of the teams has like wives and children, but they got to spend time with their buddies. So one thing I did notice on that win against Atlanta, after he kicked that game-winning field goal, everybody jumping up there, up in the air, celebrated, and together it felt like they're one. Even though we were out, number 1 running back, number 1 receiver, 3 tight ends. C.J. Mosley, defensive tackle, was suspended for 1 game. So everybody you think of was out on that game. So they all should come back healthy this week. Like I said, C.J. Mosley is off the 1-game suspension for smoking marijuana. Van Noy comes back, so he's active. I'm sure he'll run in a few sets on the defense. He's a rookie still. They haven't said nothing about Calvin Johnson, tight ends, Reggie Bush, but they have been practicing, so I'm assuming that they will start. So it's looking pretty good. Went to go view on the spread. They got Lions favored by 3. But my site is keeping it closed until they figure out if Johnson plays or not. So it should be a good game. I see some people already picking the Dolphins. I don't know. I'm gonna stay away from this game. Of course, I'll probably end up betting a few dollars on the Lions just because they're my favorite team. But we'll see how it goes. All right, let's get down to the picks. Thanks for coming again, and let's roll. For my number 4 bet of the week, my upset pick, I always pick against the spread on my 4th pick. I'm picking the Giants at Seattle. This is a 9-point spread. I know Giants just got beat up Monday night against the Colts. They got beat up 2 weeks ago against Philadelphia. They just come off a bye last week. But 9 points is a lot. Seattle, they played the Raiders at home last week. And the Raiders, scored first and then gave up like 14 points. Just there you go, 14 points. And then tried to come back from that. Didn't. The spread was 15, and they did cover. I think the Giants are a lot better team than the Seahawks. and the Seahawks aren't really a gun-happy team like the Colts or the Eagles. So I'm going to go ahead and pick the Giants +9 in Seattle. My number 3 pick of the week, I got San Francisco traveling to New Orleans. New Orleans is a 4-point spread. New Orleans looked very impressive against the Packers at home and against Carolina. I think they're starting to come around. They beat Carolina on the road this time, and they fumbled and didn't look so great, but they did pull off that win. The Packers victory, they look pretty flawless. Granted, Aaron Rodgers did pull a hamstring, but they just tromped on him after he wasn't feeling too well on that one. San Francisco, no offensive line. Kaepernick's not a great passer. Gore's a decent running back, but I think the Saints will get so far ahead of them. The 49ers won't be able to catch up, and I'm going to take that spread. So take New Orleans at home -4. My number 2 pick of the week, I got Chicago traveling to Green Bay. Chicago's hurting both on and off the field. Cutler being scrutinized as only a mediocre, high-paid player. They got a couple of great wide receivers, decent running back, but their offense is just struggling as far as getting in sync together, running the plays together correctly. Cutler's been off the mark. Their defense is non-existent. Literally. Teams that they played, Buffalo just throw against them at will. Miami throw against them at will, and they're not known as great passing teams. Green Bay, I know they fell short against the Saints 2 weeks ago, but they're back at home now. One of the hardest places to play. So I'm taking Green Bay -7.5 against Chicago. My number 1 pick of the week, I got Atlanta traveling to Tampa. Atlanta's been showing some signs of improvement every week, but Tampa just the opposite. They fell short against the Vikings at home 2 weeks ago, and they fell short against Cleveland last week. It looks like Tampa, I live in the area and I hear all the newscasters, and they say Tampa's just giving up. There's too many holes in both their offense and defense. They're struggling on both sides. Where Atlanta, they're showing, I know they're having their problems as well. But I think, since they won in Atlanta 56-14, they could easily come here and win it. It shouldn't be much of a contest. This is a pick'em game, and I think Atlanta is the better team by far. So I'm going to pick Atlanta over Tampa in Tampa. Alright, that wraps it up for the week. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I just want to say down below I have the links to all the prognosticators. They do excellent work. I also, when I'm up in the air or coin tossing games, I'll take their pick, and I've done fairly well against a couple of other picks this week. We had 2 prognosticators go 4-0, and one at 3-1, and myself went 3-1. So I did a great weekend. So like I said, if you're a gambling man and you're looking for picks, hey, they're free picks. Why we'll pay have someone else do them for you. So stay tuned next week, and I'll see you again. Peace. But Green Bay, I know that